Now 20 minutes later, the enzymes had enough time to dissolve into the mash liquid, and I checked the pH earlier and it settled right at 5.4, which I targeted. So in order to pull the decoction, I'm using a strainer and a measuring cup. With the strainer I try to pull out a lot of the grain, put it in the pot, and then with a measuring cup I just add water to get to the decoction volume and thinnen the decoction a little bit. Because we are pulling the thick part of the decoction and not so much liquid, a lot of the enzymes are actually in the liquid and they will not be denatured by the boil of the decoction. To make measuring of the decoction volumes easier, I just notched my paddle at 2 liter, 4 liter, 6, 8 and 10 liter increments for this pot, and so I know when I have the desired 11 liters that I actually want to get now. So now basically have all the grain that is actually in the decoction, and not yet to our desired 11 liters, so I'll just keep adding some mash water. So that's the thing, if you start out with a very thin mash, then your decoction won't be as thick, especially if you use that type of double decoction that we're doing here. And now to the flame. Make sure that you keep it low to heat the decoction gently. German breweries target a rise time of about 1 degree Celsius or 2 degrees Fahrenheit per minute. This is to give various enzymes in the mash a chance to work on the malt, but this malt is well modified and doesn't need much enzymatic work. So that's fine for me, and now we'll be going a little faster this time because I want to actually be done before dark. While heating, you want to make sure that you stir occasionally to prevent scorching and also to evenly distribute the temperature in the decoction. While heating the decoction through the starch gelatinization range of 60 to 70 degrees Celsius, you'll notice a few things. First, it starts turning from a milky color to a gooey brown color, and it becomes more viscous. This is the starch that is gelatinizing. With time, the mash will get less viscous again, and these are the amylase enzymes at work that convert the starch into sugars. That's also why it's called starch liquefaction. So now the mash is somewhere between 73 and 70 degrees Celsius, which is prime alpha amylase range, and I will be resting it for conversion for a few minutes. So the best way to actually rest the pot at that temperature is to take it off the burner and wrap it into blankets where it will keep its temperature for the 10 to 20 minutes that are needed to get an almost complete conversion at this temperature. So although this rest can actually be skipped when working with enzymatic strong mashes, I do strongly recommend it when working with large percentages of Munich malts for instance, because this way you get the most out of the enzymes that will not be available after the decoction is boiled. And there's also no need to match the actual saccharification rest temperature of the main mash later, because at this point you're only looking to convert the starches into smaller dextrin chains. So after 15 minutes we are now back to check the temperature and the conversion of the mash. So the temperature is still above 70 degrees, which is really nice. And to test for conversion, I started using an iodine test on chalk, which I found in a technical brewing book, and then one day I just used my daughter's sidewall chalk for that. So I just take a drop of the liquid from the thermometer, put it on the chalk, and then I'll take a drop of iodine salt solution onto that, and I can nicely see if there is any reaction or not, and in this case there's only a very slight reaction left. So this mash after 15 minutes is sufficiently converted, and as you can see, it also got much more liquid. So I will be continuing to heat it now and then bring it to a boil. So I'm now back heating the mash, and again it should be heated gently, so it should take about 10 to 20 minutes to come to a boil. And because the mash is more liquid now, you should only need to stir occasionally. And there's also no real need to even out the temperature, as now that the mash is converted, the enzymes don't need to be protected anymore. So because I have a rather small pot for this large decoction, I really have to watch out closely here for the boil over and the protein break to happen. Looks like we are getting close here. Now that we seem to be past the hot break, I will be trying to take a sample here of the wort to compare it against a sample taken later to see how the color changed. So now the decoction will boil at moderate intensity for a while. Stirring should only be necessary occasionally, so I just try to scratch the bottom of the pot to see that nothing is caking on and burning down there. If you want, you can even put a lid on the decoction to control boil off and even save some propane. Any DMS that is formed during that boil and is trapped in the decoction because of the lid will be boiled off in the hot boil later anyway.